So it's the beginning of November and it's that time of month again where I answer all the questions that you've submitted through my community tab on my YouTube channel. So let's get into the Q&A session for November. Hi and thanks for joining me again on my channel. My name's Carl, I'm an affiliate marketer here in the UK and this is my monthly question and answer video where I get to answer all the questions you've submitted through my YouTube channel under the community tab. So each month I'll put a little post-it note up there where you get the chance then to add any question or any problem you may have with your business or your website that possibly you think I may be able to help you with. Or you may just want a general question, or you just might want to know how I'm doing or what's going on in my business. So each month I'll put a post-it note up there and feel free to ask any question you like. I do try and answer as many as I can. There are usually around 20 questions on there each month and it is growing. But at the minute I could probably keep this down to one video. If it gets any more than 20 questions, probably have to split it down into a couple of videos. But for now, let's get into this. So the first question we have today is from Praful, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I am terrible with pronunciation of names, so I do apologise. And he asks, can I talk about blogging as a full-time career for the future? So yeah, I'd love to answer that. To be honest, it's something that I'd like to do a full video on because there is a lot to learn actually trying to become a full-time blogger. I've now been blogging and building niche websites for about 3 years, but only seriously for probably 2. I do still have a part-time job, but it's only because through the COVID situation, I want to kind of help my employer out and the colleagues that I work with. I don't want to leave them in a situation at the minute where we're in lockdown and there's lots of colleagues going off sick with COVID and, going into isolation, things like that. So I don't want to leave them in the lurch over Christmas. But, could I be a full-time blogger now? Yes, I probably could have been 4 or 5 months ago, being honest. But there is a lot of lessons I've learnt and I will be 100% full-time doing this in January. But I wanted to make sure that, number one, I had enough income streams coming in that if anything happened to one of them, I was still okay. And number two, that I had over a certain threshold to make sure I could cover my bills, but yet still grow the business. And I think that's where a lot of people get it wrong. They'll look at your figures and think, wow, this guy's doing, let's say, $3,000. He could be a full-time blogger. Well, could he on $3,000? Because what you got to remember is, he'll have to substitute his income. So let's say he was earning, $2,000 a month to pay his mortgage and his food bills. Then that leaves you $1,000 to reinvest into the business. Plus you have to pay your taxes on that and everything. So, what can you actually reinvest? So you're probably better in that situation waiting until you got to $4,000. And then you could say, okay, $2,000 pays my bills. $1,000 pays my tax and expenses, and then it gives me $1,000 to play around and grow the business. And then you've got a bit of a safety net so you can actually drive the business forward. I think a lot of people become full-time bloggers when they reach a certain limit and then they draw all that money out, and yes, they can live, but they can't grow the business anymore. So I wanted to wait until I was at the point where I was sufficient enough to be able to pay my bills, pay my taxes, reinvest in the business and have some profit left over. And that's taken 2 years to get to that point. So I'd love to do a full video on that because like I said, there is a lot, your daily routine, your mental stability. How do you keep going through this when things are bad? And, I've had my ups and downs and there's nobody to talk to. Nobody understands, kind of your family and your friends haven't a clue what you're doing. When you talk to them, it just goes over the head and they're not interested at all. So it is a very lonely place and it is good to be part of a community, which I was thinking about this morning. It's probably the number one thing that I've enjoyed most about this whole blogging is meeting new friends, even virtual friends, and building those relationships up. I've probably got 6 or 7 really, really good friends out of blogging, and I've probably got 30 or 40 people that I also talk to and class, as friends, but I don't obviously talk to them as much. But I've probably got 7 or 8 really strong friendships out of this, and that's one of the things that I will always take away from this, that there is a great community out there, and you'll find that they're in the same position as you, a little bit lonely and feel a little bit isolated sometimes. So It's really good to be able to reach out to them every day, in my case, when you're feeling that, things are either not going right or you want to share some of your successes. And the next question we have is from Byron, and Byron asks, is it worth buying an age domain to escape the Google sandbox when it comes to applying content? Well, it's something that does make sense to buy a domain that has a few years on it and it already has some authority. Google knows it's out there and you can just then build on that content. The only issue you've got with that is making sure that domain is clean. Now, what I mean by that is that domain is often resold. So sometimes when you see on domain sites that are selling domain names, you often see these domain names and you think, I'll get that. You buy it, think it's a brand new domain name, but it's actually been used even several times. And what you need to do is you need to check what the history of that domain is. Because if that domain has been used for anything, untoward or, a bit dodgy in the background, in the past years, then that can really have a negative effect on you. And what I mean by that is you can start throwing a ton of content on this site, a load of money onto this site, only to find out that this website or this domain name was penalized some years back. And then all your hard work is for nothing because you've got a really poor, bad domain name that's actually been penalized, and Google may still be penalizing you for. So the idea of buying an age domain is good if you can actually guarantee that it's clean and it's had no penalties or anything fishy's gone on in the past. Now, for me, I've never bought any purposely aged domain names. I've never done that. The only thing I've done is bought a domain name, added a little bit of content, and then let it sit for a few months to get out of that Google sandbox before then putting my content on. But, I think your question is relating to more like domains that's 2 or 3, 4 years old. Yeah, great idea if you can guarantee that they're clean. And the next question we've got is from Albert, and Albert asks, hello Carl, would you advise someone starting up a new blog to target UK and Canada instead of the US since Amazon has gone bad in the US? So I'm not sure what you mean by bad. If you mean that the commission rates have severely been cut, or you may mean that they've had some issues through COVID with delivery and the service hasn't been great, I presume you mean a commission rate, so I'm going to go with that one. If you can target UK and Canada, yes, commission rates are higher, but conversions and sales are a lot less. The UK size of the audience in the UK compared to the US, I think US is, I don't know the maths, but the US is probably like 4 times bigger than the UK. And I have run sites in the UK targeting just .co.uk, and I've run sites in the US. And let me tell you now, the sites in the US, even with a very small commission rate, still do far more than the UK sites. Now, there are going to be times and instances where you're going to want to just target UK. So if your website is all around, let's say, tourism in the UK, then it would make sense to have a .co.uk site. Or if you're selling a local product, something that maybe you make or you manufacture, and your audience is the UK, again, UK would be the place to go. Now, I do know somebody who has a Canadian website and they focus just on Canadian traffic. And it can work, but you've got to remember, like I say, it's a very, very limited targeted audience. So this website has a certain capacity, and outside that capacity to reach then into so let's say the UK will be very, very difficult. Google would say, wait a minute, your website is all focused around Canada. Why am I going to show it to the UK audience? So for me, I would still be focusing on US websites, even though the commissions are very low. And the next question we've got is from Kris Taylor, and Kris asks, can you speak about your process for targeting low competition keywords? Well, Kris, yeah, I'd love to do that. It's quite a big topic, so I don't know if I'll be able to cover it all in this video, this question and answer video right at the moment. But let me give you a brief breakdown of what I'm currently doing. So low competition keywords, if there's such a thing in this day. I'm still going for low competition keywords. I'm still going for zero volume keywords. And I'm also going for generic topics. Now, I'm going for generic topics more and more. Now, let me tell you why. Let's say you're going to trying to target dog food, right? We know this is a seed keyword. It's going to be very difficult to rank for that. Pretty much impossible for definitely for a new site. So you want to go for low competition keywords. So you're looking for keywords that are long tail. So instead of dog foods, you add on then extra words to make the keyword longer, to make the search volume smaller, but more targeted. So an example of that might be something like dog food suitable for new Alsatian puppies. So you're making that keyword longer, which means the search volume will come down, which means less companies will go after that keyword, and it makes that a low competition keyword, but still has enough traffic for a new blog to make it worthwhile writing. Now, although everybody says keyword research, and I even have keywordcare.com where I do keyword research for my clients, what I tend to do at the moment is focus more on a topic. So going back to dog food, so you want to target dog foods, I would be going after topics around the dog food. So I would put the dog food seed keyword to one side, and I would focus on the specific topic of feeding or dietary for dogs. So then you start looking for keywords and topics that people will be searching for in Google that you can answer with a helpful answer and hopefully get some traffic to that blog. So articles around the dietary of the dog rather than chasing dog food. So rather than going for best dog food for this, best dog food for that, you're going around dietary in dog food. So if I think off the top of my head, you would be looking for questions like, what type of dog food can I feed my puppy with an upset stomach? How much dog food should I feed my new puppy? How much dog feed should I feed a fully grown Doberman? Just any sort of questions in and around dietary rather than the word dog food. So then Google will pick up dog food is usually in the title and it's usually in your content, and they'll look at that cluster of articles around dietary for dogs, and it will start ranking it for all these lower competition keywords without you really knowing, without you actually going after and targeting them specific ones. It will know that that's what you're after. Now, with a lot of research, you can actually find low competition keywords that do have traffic, and you can also find low competition keywords that don't have any search volume, and I still often go for both. How to explain which ones to go for is very, very difficult. You have to look at the competition, the strength of the competition, the page authority of the competition, the backlinking profile of the competition, your backlinking profile, your strength authority, etc. There's just so much information. Now, there's some great people out there on YouTube at the minute that do fantastic keyword research, and I would highly recommend checking out a couple. Kris over at Niche Safari, he does some wonderful keyword research, and also Shaun at ShaunMars.com. He does some fantastic. In fact, he's probably one of the best keyword research people I know. So I would suggest you go check their channel out and let me know what you think. Comment below. How do you do your keyword research? Do you look for low competition or do you go for topics? Let me know in the description below. So the next question we have is from Ramesh, and Ramesh asks, have you ever tried building backlinks like guest posts, and have you used a link building agency? And if so, which agency is good for building links? Well, I have used a link building agency only recently. So for the last 2 or 3 years, I've been building my websites looking for organic traffic, trying to find keywords and topics and articles that I can rank organically within the SERP index so that Google finds my traffic and knows it's genuine, 100%. There's no backlinking profile to it that I've built. It knows it's natural and it ranks me, and there's no fear of ever getting penalized by Google. Now, I've always followed the Income School approach with that. They did some one-to-one coaching with me at home. I had some personal tuition. I was lucky enough to win a competition to get them to come to the UK. And after that, I went for organic content, long-form content that ranked well organically, which naturally picks up those backlinks. But over the last 6 months to a year, I've realised now that it's harder and harder to rank organically, certainly for bigger search volume keywords without any backlinks. Now, if you wait, naturally you can get these backlinks, but it does take a long time. Sometimes, to give you an example, I looked at one of my websites recently, and over the past year, it only actually picked up 20 organic backlinks from sites with a DA over 30. So 20 good backlinks, but it took a year to get that organically. Now, on the grand scheme of things, 20 backlinks on a site is not going to do a great deal unless it's a very, very targeted niche that's got little competition and your competition's got very few backlinks. Then that's not going to make a great deal of difference. So with my high ticket item website, one of my newer websites that only goes after items that are $800 to $3,000, then I have implemented a backlinking strategy on that. I do use a link building service, and I tested a couple out. I've tried the Hoff. didn't really like it. I've tried iWriters, Syndicate, and Guest Post Facility. Didn't really like it. And then eventually I went with one, which is Matt Diggerty's service, Authority Builders. Now, backlinking is a very risky strategy. Now, I want to say this as a bit of a disclaimer. I don't advocate that you build backlinks. I always say that you should allow them to come naturally. But if you feel your website's competition is pretty strong and that you're going to have to build some backlinks to even compete with them, then you have no choice. But, I'm not recommending that's something you do. You would have to take the risk and decide if you want to do that. If Google does find out that you're building backlinks and you are penalized, you can kiss goodbye to that website. It will not rank and it will take forever to try and get back into Google's good book. So I don't advocate that you go out now and quickly buy loads of backlinks. But is it something I'm doing? Yes, it is. Why? Because the competition in this niche has a really strong backlinking profile. And without me narrowing that gap, I'm never going to compete with them. It'd be pointless even doing this website. So it is the first time I'm trying it. The service I'm getting from them is very good. I'm not an affiliate with them. Like I say, it's up to you whether you want to use them or any other service. But if you do, just be very, very careful. Make sure whatever you use is providing you with some fantastic guest posts with the correct anchor text and the correct structure and format for building a backlinking profile. And the next question we've got is from Maslin, and I think this is one of the best questions I've ever had. So Maslin asks, let's ask a hypothetical question for fun. If you could publish 2,000 articles a year, would it be published all on one site or 200 articles across 10 sites, and why? So I've had to really think about this. This is a really fun question. I would love 2,000 articles in a year on one site. To see the progress and the spike that would bring would be incredible. The safer option is saying 200 articles across 10 websites, because if one or two or three of the sites don't rank, or Google just doesn't show them any love, or the competition's too high and you didn't realize it, you've still got 6 or 7 websites that could still do really, really well with 200 articles on. 200 articles on a website is a really, really good starting point. Certainly, as you just said, in the first year. So the safety side of me, the angel in my head, is saying 200 articles on 10 websites. But the little devil inside me says, go with 2,000 on one website. I would love to have a website that's got 2,000 articles. My mega site will have 2,000 articles. I'm aiming to try and publish 100 to 200 articles a month on that site for 4 years. So that will have, 3,000-4,000 articles on it. So that will be a big site. But currently one of my biggest sites has around 350 articles and gets nearly 100,000 page views a month. So that's from, 350 articles. So can you imagine the traffic on 2,000 articles? But it would always depend on the niche, the competition. 2,000 articles in a really competitive niche might not bring you much traffic at all. But 2,000 articles on a medium to low competition niche website could bring you in 400,000 visitors a month. Who knows? So to answer that, I'm going with 2,000 articles on one site just because I want to try it. And the next question we've got is from Barry, and Barry asks, if no one has written an article for a specific question, but a site has the answer buried deep in the article, which Google often shows in a snippet, do you go after it? Okay, Barry, well, to answer that, it's really going to be difficult because it depends on the competition of the keyword, how authoritative that site is compared to yours. If they're a really, really authoritative site and you're not, then organically you might not rank for it. But could you write a better, more optimized snippet? That's the key here, because we know that if you can win a snippet, you can often leapfrog really authoritative websites. I have 2 pet websites and I often beat the number 1 most authoritative website for pets out there, the Spruce Pets. I beat them on a ton of keywords, basically just because my snippet optimization skills look like they're better than the Spruce. The Spruce doesn't go after snippets. All their snippets are won just from, like you say, Google finding that information buried deep somewhere in that content. So if I can produce a piece of content that answers that question and gets that snippet further up, higher in the article, then I would go for it, yes. Because Google will crawl all these pieces of content looking for that perfect snippet answer. And if you can provide that quicker than this article, then you might outrank them just simply from having that snippet. So would I go for it? Yes, I would probably give that a go. And this comment is from Indy, and Indy's just enrolled in the Ezoic Just Start program and just wants to thank me. So you're welcome. I had a lot of people enroll through the Just Start program to Ezoic, and a lot of you are already seeing some results. That's really good to see. So if you've got some traffic to your website and you've maybe got Google AdSense on there and you're wanting to step up to Ezoic, you can do. Ezoic normally has 10,000 page view threshold per month before you can enroll on their program. But occasionally they do a program called Just Start, where anybody with a new website or maybe just a few hundred visitors a month can enroll and sign up to their program. And that's opened up to these websites so they can test how you found the process, how easy it was for a new website to start running ads, and the kind of success you're seeing. So they run these programs really as a learning tool for them to make their program even better. So it happens every 2-3 months. They open the Just Start program where it allows new websites to come into the program. And every time they do that, I will inform you. I will be part of that launch, and I will facilitate and help you get started with that through my YouTube channel and social media. Particularly on my Discord community group, we talk a lot about Ezoic on there. And the last time this was launched, a lot of you on there really helped each other out, and that was really good to see. But Indy, I'm really glad you're on there, and let me know how you're doing. Have you got the ads started yet? Are you making any money from them? Please comment below and let me know. And the next question we have is from Lisa. Lisa's a regular on the channel, so welcome, Lisa, and thank you for commenting and participating. I really do appreciate it. And Lisa asks, regarding affiliate marketing, which company has shown you the biggest profits? I was thinking of signing up for Bluehost affiliate program. Yeah, I mean, some of the hosting and email marketing companies, so like ConvertKit and Aweber and email programs like that, offer some fantastic affiliate programs. But I'm going to answer this one really, really quickly and simply. Go for referring commissions. So go for affiliate programs that have referring commissions. So what that means is somebody has to either buy the program or the software each year, and every time they do, you automatically make a commission, or they pay on a monthly fee, like a monthly direct debit, and every time they pay their bill every month, you get a recurring commission. Recurring commissions are the best, and there's some really, really good ones out there. They're a little bit hard to find, and I'm still looking for more of them that suits my niche. But if you Google, top 50 referring affiliate commissions, see what programs you can find. But they're the ones you want to look for. Once somebody signs up, you'll earn commissions like forever. As long as they're part of that program or using that tool, you'll make a commission, and they're the best ones. You don't have to do any work. The fees and the commissions just come in forever. It's brilliant. And we have another question here from Praful, and Praful says, "Hey Carl, I'm writing my third article. It's a response post as per Income's instructions for underserved topics, but I've seemed to maxed out on 700 words, and I've covered everything on this topic. Can I write a 700-word response post?" Yes, you can. I'm going away now from producing 2,000-3,000 word content for articles and keywords that don't need it. Often you can answer that question quite happily in 700 words, and you can suit that search query with 700 words, then why not? Why do you need to do more than 700 words? Google won't index 2,000-3,000 word articles just because you've wrote 2,000-3,000 word articles. It'll see that majority of that is fluff, filler content, and it'll only pick out the bits it wants to rank anyway. So if you can seriously answer that topic, and as you said, looks like you've covered everything in 700 words, then why not? That sounds like a perfect thing to do. Long days are gone where you can try and trick Google, just by writing 5,000 words on a topic and make it think you're authority on it. It will search and crawl through that content and realise that half of that is nonsense and it's irrelevant and shouldn't even be in that piece of content. So shorter content is working. Shorter content can rank really well. Guaranteed, if your domain authority is low, you're a brand new site, 700 words is slightly harder to rank. I'll probably go for 11, 1200 if you can. But if you've got a bit of domain authority, then shorter posts can certainly rank just as good. So next question we have is from Byron, and Byron asks, how do you stop writers you hire from stealing your blogs or passing information on to third parties? Pretty simple answer on that one, Byron. You can't. If they decide to write a piece of content for you and then syndicate it out or give it to somebody else, there's nothing you can do to stop them. The only way you'll find them is if your rankings for that content starts to drop and you start to investigate what other people are writing, and then you notice it's the same article, then you will realise what's happening. There's nothing you can do to stop a writer from doing that other than build a good relationship. If you've worked with a writer for many, many months or even years, and you've built up that really good rapport with that writer, you'll start to trust them more and more. I have a team of 7 writers now, and 4 or 5 of them I use every day, and I've built up a really good trust with them. They can email, text me whenever they want, and we have that lines of communication are open. We're very honest. I pay my bills on time. I pay them a really good going rate, and for that, they become quite loyal to you and become trustworthy. That's all you can do. Try and build up that relationship with your writers to the point where, you can trust them with your content and trust them to write directly onto your website. And that way, that bond between you should hopefully stop them doing anything like giving your content away or stealing your content. And the next question I have is from Milda. Very, very similar topic. Milda's had an issue. She put, how do you fight against copyright infringement? And how do you feel if you find a writer who's copied part or the majority of your article or piece of content? She's recently had a case where hers was copied and the other site ranked better than her because they had a higher domain authority, even though that content was hers and originally published on her site. How do you stop that? Well, once that piece of content is actually published, there's nothing you can do other than going to that website and saying exactly what it sounds like you did. Can you take that piece of content down, or can you link it back to me as I originally wrote it, it's my piece of content. You can syndicate it out, but you have to link it back to me with a do follow link. And it has to be the correct canonical tags and everything like that to make sure there's no duplicate penalty from Google. Now, again, it's very, very hard to stop that from happening. You just got to put your trust in your writers and make sure you build up that relationship with them. So hopefully they don't share your content out or steal your content. If you find it's a website that's just blatantly gone and stolen your content and they've duplicated that, or they're just copying everything you post, you can reach out to Google. I can't actually remember the Google website URL that you go to, but there is a part of Google that deals with copyright and duplicate content infringements. And I've had it with my site. A website copied my website 100%, everything, letter for letter, word for word. It was just on a different URL. And I reached out to Google and I said, look, this website is copied. And they quickly, within about 6 weeks, that website just disappeared. I never heard from Google or anything. They just suddenly, I filed this infringement claim, and within 6 weeks, that website just disappeared. So I presume they acted on it and took the website down, which was great to see. But how do you stop it in the first place? It is very, very tricky. I do have a video on copyright where there's a little plugin that I use now, and it stops people copying and pasting. But, as a lot of people pointed out, you can still screenshot and then copy and paste it. So, these plugins do help, and it'll stop the amateur person from copying you. But would it stop a professional or somebody who's dead intent on copying your content? It won't, I'm afraid. It's a part of blogging, and it's a risk that we have to take. And the next question we have is from Ashwin, and Ashwin says, I created a new site and put 45 posts on the site. I'm letting it sit there and waiting to see what happens over the next 6 to 8 months. Now I'm moving forward, creating a new site. Do you think 45 posts is good enough to amount of content to gain some momentum and see that hockey stick growth effect? Or should I add more articles? Well, Ashwin, first of all, congratulations on getting 45 articles on your site. That's a good achievement. And it is a good amount of content to see and judge the feel of how Google's going to take your site, how it's going to rank it, what it feels about it. Would I leave it for 6 to 8 months now without adding any more content on? No, I wouldn't. I would let it sit, but I would still add, let's say, 1 article a week or 1 article every fortnight, just to show Google that, yes, it is a new site, but I am still adding content to it. It is work in progress. and that way you'll see not only that hockey stick growth, but also once it comes out of that Google sandbox, it'll still continue to grow because those 1 or 2 articles you've added a week or a fortnight will also mature and come to fruition. And that growth will continue to grow once it comes out of that sandbox. So well done for starting that first site. Fantastic news you're starting a second one, but certainly don't just leave it alone and ignore it now for 6 to 8 months. Still continue to add a little bit of content every now and again. When you see that Google is giving it some love, you see that hockey stick effect happening, go back to the site and then get as much content on as you can. So I have another question from Praful, so thank you very much for commenting. Yeah, I really appreciate it. It sounds like you're doing a lot of work with your websites. So you ask, I had a query about keyword research using the alphabet soup method. As you said, I should go for underserved topics. I'm planning to put 200 articles on in the next 10 months, but how do I get so many underserved topics without backlinks? Are there certain number of articles that you write with low competition keywords, like starting with 30 articles? So if you're going to write 200 articles, then yeah, it is always best to start off looking for underserved topics, not necessarily keywords, but like I said before at the beginning of this video, just topics that not many people are touching on, or topics and areas within your niche that you feel you can cover in more detail than somebody else. Even if it's got low search volume or even no search volume, still cover those topics on a brand new site. And then that will easily start getting you 1, 2, 3, 4 clicks a day, because you can easily rank for these very, very underserved topics. And then as that starts to build, so can your focus on the strength of the keywords. So you can start going after slightly harder keywords, and then after a year or two and etc., you go for really hard keywords. So you build up, it's like a little process. So go for very low volume, underserved topics right at the very start, just to get some traction, just to get that website moving a little bit. Google starts then showing it a little bit of love after 5-6 months, and then you go after slightly harder keywords. And as your domain authority, your particular page authority on certain articles starts to go up, that's when you can actually put more focus into going after keywords that's got a little bit more traffic than the ones you went for right at the beginning. So yeah, I think you've pretty much got it right. 30 articles right at the beginning with very, very underserved topics, great. Then your next 20, 30 articles, again, maybe look for ones that got search volume, maybe up to 100, 150 a month search volume. And then you can start going after slightly harder ones. So good luck with your site. Sounds like you're doing a lot of work and it sounds really promising. And, comment below, let me know how you're doing, let me know how you're getting on, and keep in touch with us. So the next question I have is from Larry, and Larry asks, what is the best way to analyze competition's website? What tools do you use, and what are the main things you look for? Well, Larry, again, that's a good question, but I use a number of tools and I use a number of methods. So it's very difficult to tell you exactly the process I use. So it will depend on the article or the keyword or the topic that I'm going for. If it's a medium to high strength keyword that I'm going for, then I will look at things like competition's backlinks, their history and their structure, kind of their silo structure around that niche and topic. If they've got one really strong article that's got a great page authority, but then they've 30, 40 articles around it in a kind of a silo structure, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult to rank that. If, however, they just have one article that's going after that one keyword or topic that I want to go for, and it's got very few backlinks, then it makes it more tempting for me to go for it. Now, also, you need to look at like the backlinks that they get. I've seen, and I've actually done this experiment before, where I've seen an article that's had 200 backlinks, or certainly a lot of backlinks, but all those backlinks was very, very poor. So it had a lot of backlinks, so Google looked at that and thought, a lot of backlinks to this article, that must be good, and it's give it number one position. But then I've come along with an article that's just got 2 really strong backlinks on it, and it's knocked that article for 6, and it's sent that article right down, and I've jumped up to their number 1 spot. So it's not all about the backlinks, it's also about the quality of the backlinks, the age of the site, the authority of the site, the content quality. Do they have a video on that they've produced that links to a YouTube channel? Do they have infographics on there that's doing really well in Pinterest? Do they have a social media account? The word count? There's so much I take into consideration. But what I do is first of all look at that topic and see if they are a really strong silo structure around that topic. If they are, then I'm probably not going to go for it. Then I look at the individual post itself. And also sometimes just an inkling. Sometimes you just get a feeling that, you know, that article's there, it's doing well, but it's weak for some reason. Maybe the content's not right, or maybe there's no internal and external links within the content and it's just not structured right. Sometimes that's enough to actually go after that. Maybe you think, oh, I can win that article by just producing a really good snippet. That often is an indication of going after it. So backlinking and age domain, backlinking, authority, profile. There's so much you need to check when you're doing backlink competition. It's probably a little bit difficult just to wrap that up all in one question, but let me know, do you do anything different? Do you research your competition at all? Or is that what you're looking for me, information from me because you want to start that? Let me know in the comments below what you're doing to research your competition's strength. And the next question is from Lisa, and Lisa's asking, how do you organise your day? Apps, spreadsheets, time blocking, etc. Well, Lisa, I've gone through various methods. I'm a big spreadsheet fan, and I'm also a big pen and paper fan. I've got my notebook here somewhere, and today there's about 12 tasks on there, and I'm ticking them off one by one as I go through them. I have tried apps. I tried ClickUp, and I tried it for a few months, but I don't think I set it up right. And to be honest, it was more of a pain doing it than it was. I'm at the point where I haven't got that many. I've got 7 writers and I probably deal with 4 of them daily. So I've not got that many tasks where I need probably an app to run my life at the minute. But I use spreadsheets to track my progress long term. So I have spreadsheets for my account, spreadsheets for my content, spreadsheets for my keywords. So I do have a lot of spreadsheets. So at the minute, it's a diary, pen and paper for my daily tasks, and spreadsheets for my weekly and monthly tasks. Now, as my business grows, I'm pretty sure I am going to have to look at some form of organising my day better. Maybe I'll look at ClickUp again, or at Sumo, I think there's another one called. I was just talking to a friend of mine, Anne, the other day, and she has a ton of websites and a ton of writers. And the thought of organising that many people, I think like 50 or 60 writers, the thought of organising them just scares the life out of me. So I'm going to ask some of these bigger bloggers how they do it, and I will start learning from how they work and their practices. But until then, pen and paper and spreadsheets. And the final one we have today is from Care About Cats, and you ask, hi Carl, can you make a Pinterest tutorial to bring more traffic? I have a few Pinterest tutorials. Check my playlist. I think I did about 4 or 5 on there. I was quite heavily involved with Pinterest, and I'm still seeing the benefits from that. One of my pet websites, it still gets 4,000 or 5,000 Pinterest organic visitors a month to the website. So that campaign that I started is still producing work. I've not done a lot on Pinterest in the last few months because I've been busy with YouTube and starting the new mega site. And there are some fantastic tutorials out there on Pinterest. To be honest, some of them are, well, most of them are better than mine, and you can find some really good ones. I'll try and leave a link in the description below about the ones that I use, where I learned my skills from with Pinterest. I can't remember her name off the top of my head now, but she's a fantastic lady. Her whole YouTube channel is all about Pinterest. So I'll try and find that link and I'll put it in the description below. So there we go. That's all the questions answered for November. So I'll post another post-it note on the community tab in my YouTube channel, and that will be for December. So you can submit all your questions throughout November and I will answer those in December. So thanks a lot for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that. They are quite long, these question and answer videos. I will always timestamp them so it makes it easy for you to find the question that you've submitted. And hopefully I didn't miss any out. Hopefully I got to answering all of them for you. So thanks again. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe and click that little bell icon, and then you don't miss out on any new videos that I bring out in the future. So once again, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.